mechanism of venous return following on from our blood transport system, and all we want to look at is how we return blood to the heart so it can be pumped around the pulmonary circulation to reoxygenate. And that has a little bit to do with blood pressure and the fact that there is an effect of gravity on the blood in our body as we are upright most of the day, and we need to know how we get blood back up to the heart. As blood is pumped out of the heart, it is under its greatest pressure. So systolic blood pressure is when there's a measurement of the blood pressure while the heart is contracting. That measurement of blood pressure is higher than in the diastolic phase, which is a measure of the blood pressure while the heart is relaxed. And that difference in pressure leads us to need a mechanism of venous return when we get down to the veins, because the velocity is decreased the further away from the heart you get, and also the cross-sectional area you have available for the blood to pass through has increased. So in the arteries it's very small in relation to the veins, which has a higher cross-sectional area. So when the blood is pumped away from the heart and it's in the arteries, it's under a great deal of pressure, therefore it will move, and it gets to the muscles where it is required very quickly, and there isn't really any need to aid that passage because it's under a higher pressure. When it's been used by to deliver the oxygen to the muscles, when it's coming back up to the heart so it could be reoxygenated, the lower blood pressure and the effective gravity mean that we have to aid that, and that's the mechanism of venous return that we're going to look at. The mechanism of venous return has three components that counter this effect of low blood pressure and the effects of gravity. Firstly, the skeletal muscle pump is just really the action of muscles squeezing the veins, so it's going to force blood back to the heart. A very good way to think about this is the reason why a cool down is more effective when you go for a light jog after a period of intense exercise is the fact that your muscles are contracting and aiding the flow of blood back up to the heart, and that contraction is squeezing the veins all the time. The second part is the respiratory pump, the breathing movements that force the blood to flow towards the heart. Again, that's a contraction of the intercostal muscles and the diaphragm, which aids that blood flow back up to the heart. For these two mechanisms to work, the skeletal muscle pump and the respiratory pump, we need valves just to prevent the backflow of blood. If they didn't exist, as blood was pumped up towards the heart, unfortunately it would then go back down unless there was something to prevent the backflow of blood. So the third mechanism is actually these valves that exist inside the veins.
Hi kids, welcome to the White House and another fun-filled lesson here with Mr. Macintosh. Now I want you all to pay attention because there are things I want you to do. Today we are going to be looking firstly at the venous return mechanism. This is a term used for the blood returning to the right-hand side of the heart via the veins. As the heart can only pump out as much blood as it receives, cardiac output is dependent on venous return. When we exercise, it's important we have a rapid increase in venous return. This rapid increase in venous return allows a significant increase in cardiac output due to Starling's law. Remember what this is? You should do, kids, because you have been taught it. The body aids venous return in lots of ways. Firstly, through the muscle pump. Secondly, through pocket valves. Thirdly, through the respiratory pump. Finally, through smooth muscle. Oh yes, and don't forget the role of gravity. Okay. Now in your groups become experts on what each of these actually do. Then teach each other. Thank you for listening. God bless you. God bless Mr. Macintosh, and God bless America.
So there, with the aid of another teacher, we realised that the blood transport system, alongside blood pressure and the mechanism of venous return, then link us to cardiac output and Starling's law of the heart. What we need to know from this video is that blood pressure leads us to requiring a mechanism for the veins to get blood back to the heart, and the three components are the skeletal muscle pump, respiratory pump, and valves which prevent the backflow of blood.